What's that? Okay. Alright, we found one yet? He's alive! He's alive!
In September 2019, 40-year-old Stephen Weber Jr. traveled with his girlfriend, Kenesha Antoine, to Pemba Island for what was meant to be a relaxing getaway. By this time, Stephen and Kenesha had been together for quite a while, and he had secretly decided that this trip would be the perfect moment to ask her to marry him. But neither of them had any idea that what was supposed to be the happiest experience of their lives would soon turn into a devastating tragedy. The events that led to this began when they arrived on the island and checked into the Manta Resort, located just off the shoreline. The resort offered breathtaking, uninterrupted views of the ocean, and even had a rooftop space where guests could unwind and take in the warm, tropical air. But the most unique feature of the resort was its underwater bedroom, a room surrounded by glass, giving a full panoramic view of the sea and the marine life swimming all around. This extraordinary room was central to Stephen's plan. He decided this would be the place where he would propose. Wearing a pair of swimming goggles, Stephen swam down outside the underwater room and positioned himself near one of the windows, while Kenesha began recording the moment from inside. He then pulled out a handwritten note sealed inside a waterproof bag and carefully pressed it against the glass. The message read, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you, but everything I love about you grows more every single day." After that, he flipped the paper over, revealing the second message, his proposal. "Will you marry me?" He then held up the engagement ring he had brought for the occasion, clearly wanting to make the moment unforgettable, before turning to swim back up to the surface to hear her answer.
Oh, it's so cute. What?
Right after this, Kenesha stopped recording and quickly made her way upstairs, excited and emotional, ready to say yes. But when she looked out, expecting to see Stephen emerge from the water, there was nothing. Stephen was gone. Confused and worried, Kenesha climbed up to the rooftop, thinking he might have already made it there. But he wasn't there either. There was no sign of him anywhere. Somewhere, between showing her the ring and swimming back up, he had disappeared. Realizing something was seriously wrong, Kenesha immediately called for help, and several locals rushed in to assist with the search. Sadly, it took time before Stephen was located. When they finally found him, he was floating in the water, and by then, it was already too late. Resort staff attempted to perform CPR in hopes of reviving him, but their efforts were unsuccessful. Stephen had overestimated how long he could hold his breath underwater, and he drowned before making it back to the surface. In the final moments captured on video, you can even notice his hand beginning to tremble as he holds the ring, a clear sign that his body was struggling for air. But determined to complete the proposal and make it as meaningful as possible, he pushed past that warning, and tragically it cost him his life. In July 2016, a diver named Jacob Childs joined a group diving excursion off the southeastern coast of Queensland, Australia. The boat came to a stop around 35 miles, or roughly 56 kilometers from shore, and Jacob entered the water as the second-to-last diver. But just about a minute after he got in, the descent line slipped from his grip. Thinking he could simply swim back and try again, he headed toward the boat. As he approached, he was stunned to see that the rope had already been pulled back on board. Before he had time to react, a powerful surface current pushed him away, separating him from the vessel. Making things even worse, the boat's captain had moved off to go fishing while the divers were still in the water. By the time the rest of the group returned and noticed Jacob was missing, he had already drifted completely out of sight, leaving him alone in open ocean, 35 miles from the closest land. That distance, however, was the least of his concerns in that moment.
way too far for me.
The surrounding water was about 20 degrees Celsius, or roughly 68 degrees Fahrenheit. It wasn't cold enough to cause immediate shock or unconsciousness, but it was more than enough to gradually drain his body heat, increasing the risk of hypothermia and fatigue as time went on. On top of that, it was late afternoon, and sunset was quickly approaching, meaning his situation was only going to become more dangerous. At one point, a rescue plane passed overhead twice, but failed to spot him. This was while there was still daylight, and his inflatable marker could be seen from afar. He understood that once darkness fell, his chances of being found would drop dramatically, almost to zero.
The sun's going down. So that's it. As the sun goes down, they won't do nothing. That's a wrap on old Jakey, I guess.
At that point, there was nothing he could really do except wait and keep recording what might end up being a final message to his family. Trying to figure out the right direction and swim more than 35 miles would have been nearly impossible. If he had attempted to reach land on his own, he likely would have worn himself out and drowned long before getting close. He did attempt to follow a fishing boat he noticed in the distance, but it didn't take long for him to realize he couldn't get near enough to signal it, which left him feeling defeated. On top of that, moving too far from where he was originally lost would have lowered his chances of being found, since rescue teams would have a harder time narrowing down his location. As the sky darkened and the plane continued to miss him during multiple passes, the frustration started to build. The salt water surrounding him was also causing severe dehydration, further reducing his odds of survival with each passing minute. Even so, Jacob had enough experience to understand that panic or anger wouldn't help him. The best choice was to stay where he was and conserve as much energy as possible. After drifting alone in the open ocean for more than 6 hours, he was finally spotted by a helicopter and rescued by a nearby boat. With the sun nearly set, he had come dangerously close to not making it out alive. Thankfully, he recovered fully and suffered no lasting injuries. On May 26, 2013, a group of 3 tugboats was working to stabilize an oil tanker during a severe storm about 20 miles, or 32 kilometers, off the coast of Nigeria. During the operation, one of the vessels, called Jaskin 4, was struck by a massive rogue wave. The impact flipped the boat over, causing it to capsize and sink almost instantly beneath the surface. The company in charge, West African Ventures, quickly launched a rescue effort, but the violent conditions made any immediate response nearly impossible. Eventually, they deployed a helicopter to search for anyone who might have made it back to the surface. Sadly, even after an entire day of searching, no survivors from the Jaskin 4 crew were found. With no signs of life, the company was forced to assume the worst and shift their focus to a recovery mission. The responsibility of retrieving the bodies was given to 6 saturation divers who were already working nearby on an underwater pipeline project. They were assigned simply because they were the closest team available. Even so, it took them about a full day to arrive at the location and begin their search for the wreck. Strong currents and rough seas had pushed the Jaskin 4 far from where it originally went down, delaying the operation even further before recovery efforts could actually start. And that was only the beginning of the challenges they faced. When the divers finally found the wreck and descended to it, they realized the vessel had completely overturned. It was resting upside down on its main mast, which looked unstable and could give way at any moment. Because of heavy pirate activity in the region, all entry points to the ship had been locked, forcing the team to cut their way inside using specialized underwater torches. Unfortunately, their expectations proved correct. By the afternoon of May 28th, 2 days after the sinking, the divers had recovered the bodies of 4 crew members, while 2 others were still unaccounted for. Just when it seemed like there was no hope left, one of the divers, Tony Walker, made an unexpected discovery. To give some context, Tony was receiving instructions from his supervisor, Kobe Verrett, who was guiding him from the surface. Tony was also breathing a helium-based gas mixture, which made his voice sound unusually high-pitched. As he searched through the overturned interior, he noticed what appeared to be a human hand. Assuming it belonged to another victim, he reached toward it, but to his shock, the hand moved and grabbed him in return.
So you should be walking on the ceiling, yeah? Okay. What's that? Okay. All right, you found one, yeah? He's alive. He's alive. Okay, keep him there. Keep him there. All right. Just. All right. All right. Just hold him there, okay? Just keep him there. Oh, I don't know what we're gonna do. All right, just keep him there and keep him calm, okay? All right, just reassure him, pat him on the shoulder. Okay.
The person he found was 29-year-old Harrison O'Kenny, the ship's cook. After spending more than 60 hours trapped underwater, Harrison was somehow still alive. Even more remarkable, he was fully aware of his surroundings and stayed calm enough to cooperate with the rescuers. According to what he later explained, he had been in the bathroom when the vessel flipped. He tried to reach an emergency exit, but water flooded in too quickly, trapping everyone inside. As far as he knew, he was the only one who survived, managing to stay alive by creating a small floating platform using plywood, cardboard, and a mattress. Once they located him, the divers provided fresh water and secured him with a harness to keep him safe. However, they understood they didn't have much time to figure out a proper way to bring him up. The pocket of air he was trapped in was running out and could have been depleted within an hour, putting him at serious risk of suffocation. At the same time, they couldn't just pull him straight to the surface. After spending over 2.5 days under such intense pressure, a rapid ascent could have caused severe decompression sickness, which can be fatal in extreme cases. Luckily, because of their work installing underwater pipelines, the team had equipment designed for the situations like this. Specifically, they had access to a pressurized diving bell, which they used to safely transport Harrison after consulting with a doctor. If this had been a regular diving crew using standard scuba gear, they likely wouldn't have had the tools needed to save him. Once he reached the surface, Harrison still had to spend additional time inside a decompression chamber to safely adjust to normal pressure. And physically, he recovered fairly well. However, the psychological impact of being trapped alone in an upside-down ship on the ocean floor for more than 2 days, with no certainty of rescue, left him with lasting trauma. He developed PTSD and continues to deal with its effects even today.